what are some of the bigger mistakes currently that you see field service and home service business owners make when they're attempting to hire new workers, like in the current landscape?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, a number of things, and I could go a ton of different directions in that, but I think probably one of the biggest things that I see consistently is this mindset of owners have it in their head where wages should be at. And because that's where they've always been, right? And we're not paying attention to what's happening in the world, or we are, but we've got that whole, well, back in my day type mentality, and they're not willing to come to the reality and the realization that wages are increasing, and we need to be aware of that, and we also need to have a plan for that. In addition to that, there are some offsetting actions that need to occur once we get to a realization. Okay, here's the gap of where we need to be versus where we are, and how do we bridge that gap? And this all boils down to a price conversation at the end of it. Once we settle on, what those wages look like, and again, kind of going even further down this rabbit hole. Once we've had the wage discussion, to me, wage is just the, when I'm going out and I'm, I use the analogy of fishing. When I'm going out, on Indeed or any of these job sites, and I'm fishing for new candidates, wage is just that initial attraction, right? It's the shiny lure, or the lure's not shiny enough, right? But we haven't caught the fish yet. Now we got to look at what are all the other benefits that we provide, and taking a look at those. What's our medical dental look like? What's our retirement? What's our PTO, which is huge? What's that look like? Because again, those are all a component of compensation. And when we look at just wage alone and not take a look at the other benefits, we haven't really done our due diligence to come to a realization of this is total compensation package. And once we have the total compensation package, now we need to take that and go, okay, where do our prices need to be? So that's like the second round of getting an owner to really realize that, there's a couple of different, we got to shed that old mindset. Just because we pay an installer $11 an hour for years, it doesn't mean that's the reality that we're in. That $11 an hour installer may be, 20, 25 to start. We're not starting at 11, 10, $15 an hour. Again, what do those benefits look like? And now we've come to a cost per hour, a loaded labor cost per hour for that technician. And we've got to adjust our prices. So that's that second round of like, oh my gosh, okay, well, I can't charge that. I can't get away with that. And those that kind of are going to be relegated to operating in that mindset are, we're going to pay the consequences. So we got to make sure that, wages and benefits are where they need to be. And then from there, that's going to go straight to our pricing. Now our prices adjusted to match that. You take a look at McDonald's. I mean, what does a worker at McDonald's make nowadays? A heck of a lot more than they did back in the early 2000s, 90s, and 80s. Hourly, they're making a lot more. They're making above minimum wage. And then subsequently, what's the price of that Big Mac running? It's not $2.99, $3.99 for the meal anymore. I just took my daughter through the McDonald's drive-through yesterday, and if I remember correctly, it was close to $10 for that value meal, right? So they're making the adjustments, and guess what? We're still going through the drive-throughs and buying a Big Mac. So we do have the fortunate reality in the service industry that we are, we're a necessary industry. So pandemic proof of sorts too. So I mean, we're going to be here. We're here to stay. And unfortunately, the cost of everything is going up, and we're no different. And we shouldn't have that mentality as owners that we're the ones that have to fall on the sword here, and everybody else can raise prices, but oh my gosh, I've got to protect my customers, and I can't raise prices. We have realities that we're contending with in this inflation market. Our employees have realities that they're contending with inflation. Their cost of living is increasing rapidly. And we need to protect them, and we need to make sure that they're able to provide for their families, provide for their future selves through retirement, whatever it may be. And that's going to affect us when it comes to pricing, and we're going to be no different than anybody else in this market that's raising prices due to these ever increasing costs.